Fear is something that is undoubtedly the emotion that combines us all as a species. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter your demographics, your age, it is something that we all come across. It is multifaceted. It is a tool. Fear has many uses. One of the main uses is preservation. Usually when there is something that causes us to feel uneasy, we tend to feel fearful. Something is intruding on our sense of safety. Our bodies just freeze in place. Hearts pounding, feeling pressure in our chest, and our minds racing to figure out what is going to happen next. We end up not being in control of our bodies, and panic sets in. We lose the capability to make rational thoughts, and maybe even live our lives. For many people nowadays, these fears are all too common. Maybe not the normal fears that we're all used to, the ones that would threaten our physical safety, but our sociological and psychological safety, how we appear to a group or even to ourselves. Usually a person would only have to worry about the fears that may harm them physically, like maybe spiders, snakes, heights, crashes. All of these are known fears that would potentially hurt us or hurt others. This is probably the fear that everyone would understand and describe as fear. But one type of fear that we tend to not think of is psychological fear. This is a fear caused by our own minds. This is the darkness fear, or the fear of the unknown. This is a fear of being inexperienced, not knowing what to do or what is there. Let us go back to the fear of darkness. Nobody is afraid of being alone in the dark. What causes us to be afraid of the dark is the fact that we may not be alone. Needing the light to reassure us that there is nothing just sitting out of sight. That kind of makes you think, is it really the darkness that is scary? Or is it just our minds that are causing this feeling of uneasiness? Because you see, many of these fears are conjured up by our own heads. May it be from past experience or even just a lack of experience. And the only way to really get past these types of fears is to form some sort of understanding of what is around us. With a bit of knowledge, we can calm our fears to ensure that we are safe. Like the case with darkness. To make ourselves feel better, we turn on the light and see what's there. Ain't it crazy that all that panic was just occurring within your head? It was literally just our minds making things scarier than what actually was there. But you know what's strange? This feeling of uneasiness and this mistrust that our brain causes is important, because without fear we would not have caution for when there is something hiding in the darkness. That then goes into the trait of someone that is fearless. Many people may consider being fearless a trait that is worth admiring, but what is it really to be fearless? It is certainly not what people may think. Being fearless does not mean that you have no fears. Many fearless people certainly are afraid when they are affected by a task that would bring fear. The thing about a fearless person is they are able to see a fearful situation for what it truly is. It's usually a situation they have come across before, and they understand what is going on and are able to act with a rational mind. The trait of being fearless is within every person. It is actually a very simple trait that anyone can have. It just needs to be trained. Being fearless is more about experience than not having fears, knowing what is about to happen and how it affects the outcome. Let's take a look at a scene from a show I love dearly, Avatar: The Last Airbender. This scene is a small part from the Tale of Iroh episode. The old man is named Iroh. Iroh here is being mugged by a man.
You, give me all your money.
Normally an old person who is not used to adversity would just abide to the whims of a person with a weapon, usually out of fear for their lives. But here instead our Grandpa Iroh sees the weakness within the mugger. Iroh himself is a war general, experienced with fighting. So the presence of a weapon does not instill fear into Iroh, as he understands the capabilities of the weapon and the capabilities of his opponent, unlike others who may not.
What are you doing?
I'm mugging you!
With that stance?
What? What are you talking about? Just give me your money, old man!
With a poor stance, you are unbalanced and you can be easily knocked over.
Because of this knowledge, Iroh is quickly able to disarm the attacker. Out of context, just viewing this scene, one would probably consider Iroh a fearless person, but it's really just all experience. This scene is also really great at showing fear too. If we instead take a look at the perspective of the mugger, we can see that he's definitely not at all experienced in committing crimes. This is probably one of the first times he is attempting to mug someone, and seeing that Iroh was an old man, it was probably an easy target. However, just based on how the mugger carried himself out in his actions, it too shows that he is afraid, since what he is doing is probably something he doesn't wish to do, but he has to just to survive. You can see it even here as Iroh speaks to the man who does not have the experience of a criminal and is just scared to survive.
Much better. But to tell you the truth, you do not look like the criminal type.
I know. I'm just confused. So you really think I could be a good masseur?
Of course.
This is so great. No one has ever believed in me.
While it is always best to believe in oneself, a little help from others can be a great blessing.
It takes many years to try and build up a tolerance against fears that we come across. Many can only have experience within their own area, but now it's possible to interact with strangers that are completely diverse. And with that, we are able to gain wisdom and knowledge to fight fears that we may not be able to. Especially now with the advent of the internet, the fears, the anxiety. A person is not built to handle interacting with so many viewpoints. Many struggle with even a local viewpoint. This is also kind of why so many young adults and teenagers are kind of already battle hardened. If a person doesn't know how to deal with ridicule or trolls or hecklers, they would get eaten up by the tech that is supposed to be freeing. And that is what's interesting about being online now. In order to combat fear, it is important to draw wisdom, and you can draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it only from one, it becomes rigid and stale, and it does not allow us to develop an understanding, thus causing us to forever be fearful. All that could save us from being constantly in fear is actually communication and the tech we have now. Let's talk and actually interact with people before going to remove them out of fear. Develop your knowledge and develop an understanding. Sometimes learning itself can be scary, because it may even conflict with the sense of safety that has guided you through all those fears. This is where we need to come together. Just like how we see a strange figure in the closet and are scared to even approach. Maybe someone else can help shed the light on the situation and put you at ease. Let's work together to overcome fear and fight against people trying to keep us in the dark. Fear is a thing that is natural. It's a thing that makes us human. It protects us and others from harm. But if used correctly, it can give us an insight to the world. Let's work together and let's overcome it. Keep hope and build up your strength to be a better person. This has been Tara, and we'll see where the wind takes us from here. Take care.